Hey everyone, and how's it going? Bowser the Healer here, and today I want to talk about all of the healers in Mythic Plus. Yes, that is every specialization. I have a goal of hitting 3k with every single healer this season, and I figured I should start that journey at the start of the season. So part of the reason I've been a little quiet is I've been grinding. My monk and my preservation are further along than anyone else. My monk actually hitting almost all 20s right now. I have Keystone Master and my first set of 2-piece tier, so I'm pretty happy about that. But that being said, it's not like I haven't put a lot of time into playing a bit of each spec, trying to get them some gear so that this journey's a little less painful than it might be if I neglect characters. And I'm happy to report I'm having fun with every single healer. So I want to talk about all of them, so let's not delay it all. If you like healing content, get subscribed. And of course, if you have any comments for me, questions, or any tips on some of the healers I play less, I'd really appreciate it down below. This is going to be Mythic Plus focused. Let's dive right into it. So starting off, Mistweaver. A lot of this is what I predicted, and my thoughts have not changed much on the spec. But it's sort of an S+ pug healer. When everyone was struggling at the start of the season and some of the dungeons were really tough, I feel like Mistweaver, I was just blasting through keys with zero issues. Like, I was keeping every single party up. I had almost no failed keys at first. Like, I cleared every single key, and I didn't even fail a single 20 run for a while. Like, I feel unstoppable on this spec. Now, part of it's because I'm really good at Mistweaver, and I know that's playing a part here, but I also just feel as if it has the tools to throughput a lot of the damage profiles that show up in this season. Now, it doesn't have PI, it doesn't have battle res or a bloodlust, so it is lacking in the in some of the utility it brings, but the control it brings, and bubble being on a shorter cooldown if you take that talent, and fist weaving just being in an incredible place leaves this spec flying high. I still can't recommend pure mist weaving, but fist weaving and then occasionally doing some casting to patch people up, which is typically how you play, is very strong right now. So if you've been on the fence about learning Mistweaver, which there's one other spec in here, I'll be saying that too. This is the time, right? We're eating really good. It plays well. I think this is the time to jump in and give it a serious try. Okay, on to preservation. Preservation's in a similar bandwagon. The nerfs kind of hurt, but the buffs also really help. And I've acclimated to having to pre-echo and use my temporal anomalies a little bit smarter, and it feels really good. For the future, when I get 4-piece, I want to try a Nosdormu's teaching build where you don't take Resonating Sphere, the echo delivery service, but I still can't recommend it. I know there are some people in my comment section that were like using it and finding success, but I'm finding that when you pug, those echoes become almost mandatory or people start dying. And I always remember at the start of a season, preservation is a struggle. When you don't know the pulls, and neither does other party members of yours, you end up in these situations where you're not sure what to press to heal. I've been using my fire breath as a means to start a heal over time so that I have an easier time recovering health bars, or saving it as a burst heal in a pack when a large amount of damage comes out. It's wild. It's like I forget how to play the spec. I'm running this unique build right now where I'm not taking Font of Magic, and I'm not running Call of Ysera either. I'm going over to Time of Need, because Time of Need is proccing a ton on these dungeons. Having your little helper buddy, come out and save someone's life has been a game changer for me, and I'm probably going to keep running it until I get at least 2-piece, maybe 4-piece. It's feeling good, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. But preservation, season 1 to season 2, season 2 to season 3, I just get slapped with oh, right, I need to not play this spec like I'm perfect at it, because you can't really play perfect preservation until you really understand the pulls and the mobs and the kicks and all of that stuff. I feel like it's a spec that requires enough pre-planning that when you're kind of winging it, pun intended, it's not necessarily the easiest, but still doing good, still very happy with it. And yeah, I think us preservation players are eating still and doing well. Next up on my list is Discipline Priest, and it's exactly as I predicted in my Discipline Priest video for the PTR footage. The damage did get nerfed, the healing is still excellent, and power infusion is still power infusion, so it's quite good. You're gonna see it as S tier on a lot of people's tier lists. I'm gonna give it a solid B+ for the pug department, because no amount of healing in this world will save someone if they don't press a defensive and they're under geared, and that's just going to remain true on Discipline. However, for all of you who've been on the fence about learning Disc, and again, same with Mistweaver, this is the time. It is the easiest it's ever been. but not easy like they've ruined the flavor of Discipline. No, you're just spending less time tripping over needlessly like high amounts of APM and button requirements. Like, oh, do I press this button then this button, or will that break Twilight Equilibrium? Like, no, it's so much easier to manage, even if you're using Twilight Equilibrium. So I'm still big recommending Discipline Priest. That's feeling good to me. But from a pug level, it's still a little challenging. But I think if you're confident in yourself and you get yourself some gear, Discipline will feel good even in pugs. And I know I do fine in pugs, and many other disc players do as well. So don't let that intimidate you too much. It now has emergency cooldowns. Like, it has better buttons for dealing with problems. Ultimate Penitence is awesome. Like, I've just found so many places where I can fit that button in. So extremely happy with Disc. This is the time to learn it. So jump in now. I'll probably make a guide on Disc, a beginner's guide for Discipline Priest. So look forward to that at some point. And then onto one you guys aren't expecting me to talk about, Holy Priest. I'm having fun. I have this build. It's maybe I'll link all the builds down below. It's a bit of work, but I'll find them all. It's this build that runs double charges on things like, I think it's Sanctify and like the big AoE heal. What is that called? Holyroot Radiance? No. Yes? Whatever. You get 2 charges of stuff. Apotheosis is very easy to use now because it just gives you an extra charge. You don't feel like you're wasting charges. You can burn charges and build them back up insanely quickly. And the burst damage is huge. I love it. The APM is high. You have a little plan in your head for how you want to heal something. You execute it, and Holy Priest rewards you for it. Prayer of Mending is super fun to use. You still have that power infusion. You still have all the other priest utilities. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm actually so genuinely looking forward to getting 3K on Holy Priest. I went from like a Holy Priest doubter that was like, oh, your guys are built different. It's a cool spec, but man, it's just not for me, to like, oh, I really like this. So Holy Priest players, if you liked it in season 2, you're gonna love it in season 3. I forgot to mention at the start of this video, basically every single healing spec got single target buffs to make single target healing way better. And Holy Priest, I believe, benefits from that. All of them do. And single target healing, I can confirm for all these specs, but especially Holy Priest, where it wasn't feeling great last season, feels much better. So this is a really great time. It also doesn't feel like it's broken either. It's in a really nice, happy spot. Moving on to another one that I love, Restoration Druid. If you played Restoration Druid in Mythic Plus, not a ton has changed. I had to shift like 2 talent points because now your tree ants can actually cast Wild Growth on someone, and that's really nice. So they'll open up with a Wild Growth. It's in a good spot because they didn't change a lot. Flourish is now a 1 minute by default, which is just a game changer for me, but the damage is better, which might not sound significant to you, but in my Druid video, I had mentioned that Boomkin damage was good and Cat damage was okay, but I preferred Cat. But sadly, in the next patch, there would be like damage on Boomy, but not so much the cat weaving stuff. And if my video is the reason that got changed, I will be the happiest person in the world. To the WoW dev that did this for me, I love you, but cat weaving damage went up a ton. So I can now tell you with confirmation, play cat weaving, play Boomy weaving, live your best life as a Resto Druid player. It's super cool right now. I'm so happy with the state of Resto Druid. Maybe it's the healer I'm the most looking forward to playing outside of like the big 2, Preservation and Mistweaver for me, because I love cat weaving. That being said, I can't recommend you cat weave on Incorporeal Week because it's a little hard to get to hibernate. Oops. But I loved it. I had a really good time. So if you liked it last season, it just feels even better this season. There were like a ton of changes to the spec, but a lot of them affect like the raid builds, and there was a bunch of talent changes, and I'm gonna have to still read through all of those, find a resto player that I really enjoy, and watch their guide on raid restoration, because I might even try a little bit of raiding on it. I don't know, it seems kind of fun. So looking good. All right, another curveball for all of you. Resto Shaman. I'm still gonna stand by. It's got some of the worst sound effects and visual effects in the game. Not for everything, but for a few things. Chain lightning, I'm looking at you. But I'm having a ton of fun. I was using this kind of god-awful chain heal build that just was so mana inefficient and it felt terrible. And I was talking about it on stream, and one of my viewers was like, have you tried the Riptide build? And I'm like, no, I haven't really investigated all of like the good builds, just because, you know, I play a lot of healers. I don't know if I have the time. Gave it a shot, And the first key I went, okay, wait, that felt better. And then the next key I was like, oh, I'm getting it. And then the third key I was like, wait, maybe I'm having fun with Resto Shaman. And then the patch came out, right? And I decided to start running keys on it. I reread all the talents to make sure I knew what I was doing. And oh my goodness, I think I like Resto Shaman. This still feels like the go-to beginner healer. If I'm going to recommend like a brand new healer who wants the easiest spec to learn, might be Resto Shaman. It still has a bit of a reading requirement to it, but with the better spot healing and the really good emergency cooldowns, I feel like this is a winner. I'm a little sad Cloudburst Totem got nerfed, but I've been actually using Healing Stream Totems, which might be incorrect, but I've been having a lot of fun with them and they make my life a little easier. But the emergency cooldowns on this spec, especially Spirit Link Totem, which is still one of the coolest buttons on a healer ever, I'm enjoying myself. I never thought that I would go from like a Resto Shaman hater to a Resto Shaman enjoyer, but it's happened. So for those of you who've been excited about me giving that class or that spec or both, right, a little more of a showing, you're gonna get it. I'm really happy with it so far. Now I want to talk about one more thing. That's Holy Paladin. Okay, I know I made it sound bad and I haven't even said anything yet. Holy Paladin is fun. It sounds like I got like someone's like aiming a gun at my head. I'm enjoying myself, but kind of got gutted. The damage is kind of low. Maybe that's intentional, but the mana costs are really high. Healing people is not always fun when you don't have a cooldown. And there's a lot of parts to it that feel clunky still. And and it would be like small changes. Like, for instance, I'm an Avenging Crusader player. I like running the 1 minute wings that you do damage with Crusader Strike and Judgment and it heals people. Obviously, right? I like Mistweaver. And I wish it lasted a little longer when you popped it. Or I wished that the healing from Word of Glory felt more impactful. Even when standing on your consecration and empowering it, it still feels weak for the main resource that I'm building. There's just something about it that doesn't feel good. Beacon healing doesn't feel good. I end up running Beacon of Virtue because it makes the AoE healing feel a lot more fun. And the sound effects, the design, when you slam what's it called, Daybreak, and you get your Daybreak sacks, you suck all the glimmer. Nobody clipped that. Honestly, the healing is awesome. The machine gun Holy Shocks is a mood. Divine Toll's fun. When it's all working, it's quite enjoyable. But when you're like out of tools on this spec, I feel like it's kind of terrible. But I want to be honest with you, I don't have enough item level. I'm at 433 right now, and it could be higher, right? I could have more gear, and I think once I get more gear, I'm going to be having more fun with it. But yeah, there's something, I don't want to say missing, but I wish there was more smoothness. I wish there was more. Honestly, if you buffed Word of Glory and you made Avenging Crusader last like a little bit longer, maybe 15 or 16 seconds, or 20 seconds even, right? I feel like this spec would really come to life, even with the damage nerfs. That being said, the blessings are still super fun to use, and Tears Deliverance, I think, is actually a goated healing cooldown. That's one of my preferred healing cooldowns to play with. It's sort of up there with Spirit Link Totem, and just like, it's neat in how it's used. It's neat in how you extend it and get mileage out of it. And when Tears Deliverance is running, I feel actually unstoppable, especially if I play my cards right, and it rewards me for using my cooldowns such as Hand of Divinity correctly. Holy Paladin's going to be the one I do the slowest. I'm still going to get a gear every week. I'm going to still try to push it, but it'll go the slowest because I feel like something's got to change with the mana. Out of all the things here, mana just, I don't know. It's in the weirdest spot because I feel like I'm running out of mana doing normal amounts of healing that other specs do without blinking at similar item levels. And I'm just running out of juice on Holy all the time. So hopefully that gets addressed. I'm happy that I'm playing it again because I had a lot of fun with this in Shadowlands Season 3. And half of that was because Necrotic Hammers were fun. It feels good right now. And I think it could feel better with some adjustments, or maybe it'll just feel better with the gear and the stat weights becoming perfect. So I will give it a solid chance. Holy Paladin players, come by and harass me, help me out. I would love that. But that's going to do it for my little roundup. I'm happy that the healers are doing well. As I said earlier, we're eating, because it doesn't feel like there's a healer right now other than maybe Holy Paladin, and I don't think I'm the authority on that all feel like they're doing good. And even Holy Paladin, like, there are keys that are breezy for me, where I'm healing well and no one's dying and I'm hitting my assignments correctly, and it just feels good. So I think everything's looking kind of solid right now. That being said, I still think the skill requirement for healing has gone up in Dragonflight considerably since the start. And I think it's like, I'm speaking from a place of I definitely play healer all the time, so I'm good at it and I understand the concepts. It still feels like it might be a bit intimidating. And I'm wondering if a spec such as Resto Shaman or Holy Priest would actually be a good tutorial for the game or not. But I obviously can't be that tutorial because I'm already playing the game. So something to ponder, something to think about, but I'll leave you all there. Let me know your feelings about the season down below. Let me know if you got anything sick coming up, or I'm going to be releasing this on Vault Day for North America. So any North American or EU players on Wednesday want to tell me what you got, I'd love to hear that. But thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.